Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. So in the present video, we are going to look at the anatomy of small intestine. Please don't forget to subscribe and join my YouTube community. Introduction to the small intestine. First, the small intestine is a vital part of the digestive system responsible for nutrient absorption. So ladies and gentlemen, in the digestive system, we have different parts, including large intestine, small intestine, gastrointestinal tract, mouth, and many others. So there are different parts that are involved to ensure that there is an effective digestion in the body of living organism. So specifically, the small intestine is responsible for the nutrient absorption in the body. And then, of course, in addition, ladies and gentlemen, the length of the small intestine is measured between, it measures approximately as 6 meters, which is about 20 feet in length in adults. So this means that it is huge because 6 meters is not as small as it is. It is actually a very long. So it is about 6 meters because generally small intestine it is too twisted in the stomach, so that is why the 6 feet can perfectly fit into our body. And then in addition, this small intestine is divided into three main sections. So there are three main sections in the small intestine, which include duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. So these are the different sections that are found in the small intestine. And as we can see from the diagram, this is the small intestine. And as we can see clearly, the duodenum is here. So this is the duodenum. This is the duodenum. And then, of course, this is the jejunum. This is where we have the jejunum. And then we have ileum here. So these are the three components or the three sections that are found in the small intestine: the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. So then in addition, the structures and the layers of the small intestine. So in the small intestines, it is made of, or it consists of four main layers, which include mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. So these are actually the four main layers that are found in the small intestine. And then in addition, the mucosa, which is one of the layers of the small intestine, it features with villi and the microvilli. And these villi and the microvilli are very important in increasing the surface area for absorption. So you see, first, in the small intestine is made up of the frame part, and then it's also made up of layers. And the four major layers that are found in the small intestine are mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, and then serosa. And then in addition, this mucosa features is made up of villi and the microvilli, which are actually responsible for increasing the surface area for absorption. And then the next thing is the muscularis layers, which contains smooth muscles, which is responsible for peristalsis movement. So now, as we can see clearly, that the muscularis also, it contains smooth muscles, and the smooth muscles that are found in the muscularis is responsible for peristalsis movement. And what is peristalsis movement? Peristalsis movement is a process that involves movement of food downward. So move food along. So it helps in moving food along. So that is the meaning of peristalsis movement. So the peristalsis movement of food is controlled by the smooth muscles in the muscularis layers. And of course, these are the layers of the small intestine. As we can see, this is the mucosa, or this is the submucosa. And from here to here, we have muscularis porphyria, and then the last one here is serosa. So these are actually the layers of the small intestine. So assuming now you asked to draw the anatomy of the small intestine, and I think the best thing here, I will advise you first, you started with the structure, the small intestine here. Look at it. You start with the drawing the small intestine, and you show the three different parts of the small intestine: the duodenum, the jejunum, and then the ileum. Then after doing that, then you can now also come and draw the layers of the small intestine. And I think drawing this might not be actually an issue. So then the next thing is the duodenum, which is actually the first section of the small intestine. So the duodenum is the shortest segment. It is the shortest segment with about 25 to 30 centimeter long and begins at the pyloric sphincter. So this is where it started. So the duodenum, it is actually the shortest segment of the small intestine, which begins at the point of pyloric sphincter. So then the next thing, of course, the duodenum, it receives chyme from in the stomach. So the chyme is actually the mixed food product. So it receives the chyme from the stomach and then digestive enzymes from the pancreas. So it means that the duodenum receives digestive enzymes from the pancreas and also the chyme. It also receives chyme from the stomach. So then, of course, the duodenum, it plays a key role in the chemical digestion and neutralizing stomach acid. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, after the digestion of food in the stomach, because of course, one of the importance of the stomach is involved in the digestion of food and it mixes with an acid, HCl. So it is actually the work of the duodenum to neutralize the acids to neutralize the food from the stomach acid, and also it aids in the chemical digestion. So the chemical digestion is it's a types of digestion that involves the use of enzymes. And of course, as we can see that, remember we did anatomy of the pancreas, where the pancreas is behave as so it has the ability to excrete enzymes and hormones. So it has both endocrine and exocrine activity. So therefore, at this point, the pancreas can also produce enzymes, and those enzymes such as lipases, maltase are the enzymes that are released into the duodenum. So therefore, the duodenum receives digestive enzymes, and then it will now digest the chymes that are received from the stomach using the enzymes. So that's why it undergo chemical digestion, because it uses enzymes to digest the food which are received from the pancreas. And then the next thing is this is actually the structure of the duodenum. So as you can see, this is duodenum. These are some of the parts. We have minor duodenal papillae, and then we have major duodenal papilla. So then the next thing is jejunum. So the jejunum, that is the middle section. So the jejunum is made up of 2/5 of the small intestine's length. So it means that it is huge. It is huge, and it is primarily involved in nutrient absorption. So you see here, the major functions of jejunum is actually very important in nutrient absorption. But look at, of course, for the duodenum, the major functions of the stomach is also the digestion. You see, the role is involved in chemical digestion and the neutralization of the foods as a result of the mixed with the stomach acids. Okay, and then apart from the duodenum, then the next thing is jejunum, as we can see, which is actually very important in nutrient absorption, and also it is mucosa, that is the mucosa which contain numerous villi and microvilli. It's responsible for enhancing the absorptive surface. So it means that it helps in increasing the surface area for the absorption of food substances. And then the next thing, the blood vessels. In the jejunum, there is a blood vessels. So in the blood vessels in the jejunum, it's responsible for the transport. It's responsible for the transport of absorbed nutrient to the liver via the portal vein. So it means that the blood vessels in the jejunum are responsible for transporting the absorptive nutrient to the liver via the portal vein system. So as we can see, this is the jejunum. This is the jejunum. So it comprises of about 2/5 2/5 of the small intestine. So then the next one is the ileum, which is the last section of the small intestine. So the ileum is the largest part, which is measures actually about 3 to 4 meters and continues the absorption process. And of course, it contains fierce patches It contains pure patches, which are lymphoid tissue involved in immune response. So it means ileum, it is very important in immune response in trying to protect the body against any foreign substances that can cause disease. And then the next thing, of course, the ileum, it empties into the large intestine. The ileum empties into the large intestine at the ileocecal valve to regulate intestinal flow. And of course, as we can see, this is the ileum, as we can see it clearly from here. So it is very long, with about 3 to 4 meters, and it also continues with the nutrient absorption process, and it's made of fierce layer. And the major importance of the fierce layer is like it contains an lymphoid tissue. And the major functions of this lymphoid tissue it involved in the immune response. So then the next thing is functions and the clinical relevance. The small intestine primary functions include digestion, nutrient absorption, and immune defense. So these are basically the three major functions of small intestine. The digestion, of course, it takes place in the duodenum, where there is a chemical digestion and the neutralization of the stomach acid, and then the nutrient absorption by jejunum, and as well as the jejunum as well as ileum, because ileum is also continuous with the absorption. And at the same time, the ileum, as we can see, contains a fierce part which actually contains a lymphoid tissue that is responsible for immune response. Conditions like Crohn's disease and celiac disease can affect its structure and function. So whenever there is a disease condition like Crohn's disease and celiac disease, it usually affects the structure and the functions of the small intestine. So understanding its anatomy is essential for diagnosing and treating various gastrointestinal disorders. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to stop. Please, if this is the first time you come to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and join the YouTube community. Thank you very much and see you next.